Hello, my dear students. Today I am here to discuss on Matthew Arnold and his famous poem, Dover Peace. This is Matthew Arnold, one of the leading poets of Victorian literature. He was born on 24 December 1822 and he was died on 15 April 1888. Look at the picture. Look at the picture of the poet. This is the Dover Peace. He has written his famous poem Dover Peace based on this place and this beast. Actually, Dover Peace is a place of England where one can see the furthest part of the fence standing on Dover Beach, and this is a beach the full of pebbles. The background of the poem. Before going to start to discuss the poem, you have to know the background of the poem. Dover Beach is a lyric poem by English poet Matthew Arnold. It was first published in 1867 in the collection New Poems, but surviving notes indicate its composition may have begun as early as 1849. The most likely date is 1851. The title, local, and the subject of the poem's descriptive opening lines is the shore of the English ferryport of Dover in Kent, facing Calais in France. At the Strait of Dover, the narrowest part, it is about 21 miles, 34 kilometers of the English Channel, where Arnold honeymooned in 1851. That means Matthew Arnold in 1851, he went to Dover Beach with his beloved wife for spending some times and enjoying honeymoon. Many of the beaches in this part of England are made up of small stones or pebbles rather than sand, and Arnold describes the sea heaving over the stones as a grating rope. Let's recite the poem. Here's the poem, Dover Beach. At first, I'd like to recite the poem for you, then I'll discuss on, on the text. The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits. On the fence post the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, out in the tranquil bay. Come to the windows, sweet is the night here. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon danced land. Listen, you hear the grating row of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling. At the return of the high stand, begin and says, and then again begin with tremulous cadence slow and bring the eternal note of sadness. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery we find also in the sound of thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of fate was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle fur. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withering roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the passages bare and naked singles of the walls. Ah, love, Let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor health for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swift with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash and by night. So this is the poem. Actually, the poem is one kind of dramatic monologue where the poet is speaking towards the audience, the silent audience. Uh, the setting, just see, the sea, the sea is calm tonight. The tide is full, the moon lies bare upon the straits. On the French coast and light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and burst out in the tranquil bay. The setting of the poem is on the seashore of Dover Beach, and here the poet describes the beautiful atmosphere of the night, and it was a moonlit night. The moon shines over the sea. The sea is glimmering. It was very shiny. And in this moment, the poet invites his beloved wife to enjoy the beauty standing on the window. So, uh, one night the poet stood near the window of his room and observed the calm sea with full tides in the moonlight. So this is the sea is calm tonight. So weather is very calm and quiet. The tide is full. The moon lies fair. So the tide is full. It's the time for tide for the sea. So the tea uh, is beautified with the moonlight upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. And where the poet sees uh, the opposite side, that means the French coast, actually, one night the poet stood near the window of his room and observed the calm sea with full tides in the moonlight. The entire French coast bathed in the moonlight, which shone dimly and then disappeared. He could see the extended cliffs of England that stood firmly shining in the moonlight. Enchanted by the beauty of the Dover Beach, the poet invited his beloved to the window and enjoy tranquility amidst nature. So you see, the poet here invites his beloved. Listen. So here he asks his beloved, listen. That means he invites here the grating row of pebbles which the waves draw back and cling. He then asks her listen to the sound of the waves striking the shore, as the shore is full of pebbles, sea pebbles. So the wave comes, falls, and returns. So in this way, one kind of grating sound is produced. That sound is coming towards the poet. The harsh waves chewed the pebbles on the shore with great force. The continuous rhythm created by the waves and the pebbles produced a melancholic and elastic music which created a mood of despondence. In this sad state of mind, the poet is reminded of the great dramatist Sophocles. He had heard the same music of the Asian Sea and understood the dissolution of human life. So, in this stanza, the poet said, what he is listening now, standing on the window from the sea, the same thing perhaps Sophocles long, long ago heard it on the Asian, and it brought into his mind. So it's a continuous process. What he is listening, that was listened by Sophocles before long, long ago. And what was this? He said Sophocles long ago heard it on the Asian, and it brought into his mind and turbid with eve and flow of human misery. That means the misery, human misery, he is listening. Here he compared the sound of the wave or the grating roar of the wave reminds him the human misery. We find also the sound, a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. So here he parallels Sophocles and himself in the same circumstances. In the next stanza, the poet has compared the world with sea according to the poet. In this stanza, the sea of fate was once stood at the full, and round its earth's shore lay like the folds of dried curdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast sphere and naked singles of the world. In this stanza, the poet has compared the world with sea. According to the poet, the people of the world were once full of faith. With the passage of time, like the sea waves, the faith in God had also deteriorated. That means once the human being had the full faith on God, but in the passage of time, that faith is deteriorating, retreating. That means is going far from man. Now the sound of the retreating waves and the pebbles thrown on the shore seem to be that of a long drawn deep melancholy and weariness in life. This is because of the decline of faith has led to a lot of confusions, fears, troubles, and uncertainties around the world. In the last stanza, what he says, just look, oh love, let us be true to one another. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy nor love nor light, nor certitude nor peace nor health for pain. And we are here as on a darkening plain, swift with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies flash by night. That means, in the last stanza, the poet, along with his beloved, made a promise to each other that they would be true to one another. Through thick and thin, the seemingly beautiful world has neither joy nor uncertainty about anything. It is shown of peace and remedy for pain. Today, in such a competitive world, people are fighting a mysterious battle against unknown rivals. The poet feels that the battle is futile and the struggles and the fights put up by the human beings are all futile, ending nowhere but in the darkness and gloom. So, in the last stanza, the poet urges his beloved, ah, love, let us be true to one another. It's a beautiful uh, quotation, I think. তিনি বলেছেন, let us be true to one another. আসো, আমরা একের প্রতি বিশ্বস্ত হই। আমরা একে অপরকে রেসপেক্ট করি। For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, কারণ আমাদের সম্মুখে যে স্বপ্নময় পৃথিবী আছে সেটা হচ্ছে কি land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new. এই ওয়ার্ডটা হচ্ছে কিরকম ল্যান্ড অফ ড্রিমস, কারণ হচ্ছে এটা যেমন চমকপ্রদ ভ্যারিয়াস, তদ্রুপ ঠিক ততটা সুন্দর মনোমুগ্ধকর এবং ততটাই নতুন। hath really neither joy nor love nor light nor certitude nor peace nor health for pain. আর যদি আমরা এই যে বিশ্বস্ত না হই, একে অপরকে শ্রদ্ধার চোখে না দেখি, তাহলে কি হবে? তাহলে না থাকবে কোনো জয় আনন্দ, না ভালোবাসা, না কোনো আলো, nor certitude, nor peace, nor health for pain. কাজেই let us be true to one another. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swift with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies flashed by night. So let us be true to one another. Hope you understand my class. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for my class. Hope you understand. And if you have any question, please put your valuable comments below my class. Thank you. Thank you very much.